Yeah, we back in Mama's basement. Hey, I'm curious. Have you guys seen this whole red pill movement and stuff that has been online? It's been online for a minute now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
MGTOW, man going their own way. You know what I mean? With all these all these dudes that's pretty much finessing men with no game. Telling them, fuck women, don't get married, don't have kids. You know what I mean? All this shit. Are y'all familiar with that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like Fresh and Fit.
Yeah. And a lot of first of all, what y'all think about that? What's your opinion on that red pill movement? Do you agree with the philosophies and the shit behind that?
To a certain extent, I say until you to you financially able to not only make that decision but also take that loss. If it doesn't go well, I don't think you should. A lot of people are prepared to bid, but they ain't prepared to take a loss if it doesn't go right. And that's the hardest thing about it. It ain't really the being to have the kids and to be in the home with the kids. It's the whether this shit goes wrong. You know what I'm saying?
You mentioned Fresh and Fit. You like Fresh and Fit?
I like certain shit about them. Certain discussions that need to be made. I don't like the fashion that they handle certain situations on the show and things of that nature. But they're good financial teachers as far as like about financially, and also the masculinity. They just take it to a whole nother level. But I think men need to get back in touch with being masculine again. I give you an example. No man should make you feel inferior. That's not threatening you. You shouldn't go around a man and be like you're coming off too aggressive.
What you think, Cuz?
It's a complicated answer, but to be as concise as possible, my whole problem with that so-called movement is this. You have theory versus reality. In theory, a lot of that crap sounds great. But in reality, man, that crap don't matter. Let's be real. Let's be real. I feel like it's like a good guidebook for people who haven't lived. People who haven't quote unquote been out in these streets. Because as you know, we've been out here, and man, I always go back to this. If a woman is truly attracted to you, none of that shit matters. None of it matters. That's like, it's almost like a Fisher Price, like my first game. You know what I'm saying? like for somebody who hasn't had actual interaction, somebody who's too afraid to be themselves, it's like you're putting on the facade of being a high value or whatever they want to, whatever buzz term they're using, to be a desirable man. Just be you, man. Be the best you. Nobody can do you like you. And you could be all right.
I think it's stupid. And I think it's fucking whack. I think, you know what? I got caught up in watching a lot of that content before, right? Because it was entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because honestly, they kind of draw from emotions that every man has felt before, right? We've all been dissed by a chick. We've all been played. We all got the loud, obnoxious turn down in the club. You know what I mean? We've all been lied or deceived or whatever. However, isn't the whole purpose to get a woman and to start a family and to learn to discern which ones to stay away from and which ones you should hold closer to you? Or is it to, fuck these hoes, bros over hoes? I mean, what is it? What's the purpose?
That's a good question.
That's going through at the time.
And the way I feel like one of the points of contention with that movement, and one of the things I kind of understood or I empathize with, is that we live in a society now where I think they were arguing, is that juice worth the squeeze now? Because of, just like you said at the beginning, what happens if things go wrong? Are you should as men, should we be willing to eat that cost if it goes to hell? It's not a small lick, you know, and you have to be, you know, go into it thinking pragmatically and just be willing to, you know, weigh the pros and cons and come to your decision. Everybody's decision is going to be different, but you know what you're getting into.
And not to go back into the last video, but what if it goes wrong just because a person feels like they want to do something different? You know, that's what she did. I want to get back out here. I want to experience stuff, and then come back later and then tell you know what? I want to make this back right again. Let's get back together. Let's start up. Let's reunite our family. It's a lot of risk in doing it. Like a lot of people don't find the right one for them. They find the right one for that time.
Yeah.
And then they end up doing permanent stuff in a temporary situation, like having kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a decision making part of it as well. But we also live in a society where the music tells us, you know, fuck all these bitches, and they tell the female, these niggas ain't shit. What's it? FNN, fuck niggas free, whatever that shit's called by these little young. But that's the generation.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying. But when you already have a devalue of both men and women, how can you do something that's supposed to be valuable? Being in a relationship, having kids, that's supposed to be the wealth right there. You know, that's your gene pool. That's everything about you. But if I don't find the opposite sex valuable, how can I really even take these old school concepts and put them in a new world where they don't even think on that level?
I get what you're saying, and I think the key thing with that is, and I think one of the things that they tried to get across to people, but it got lost and all the, you know, the extra stuff, was men practicing discernment. It's not about, I think a lot of times people take that content or that category of content and they try to classify it as, you know, like not woman shaming, but like minimizing the value of a woman, you know, in a society, and minimizing a woman's worth. And I don't think it was that. I think it was the case of the movement trying to tell men that you have to be more discerning. Understand that although she might be a prize, don't get it twisted. You're a prize too. And all that Disney crap that you looked at growing up, you know, about winning a woman and all that, that's dead and gone. You have to treat the partner you choose to live your life with, you have to treat that decision seriously. And you have to, you know, you really have to weigh the pros and cons. You have to be analytical with it, because for most of us, there is not going to be a greater decision that we make in our lives than who we decide to procreate with, who do we decide to spend the rest of our lives with, because it has very serious consequences if you choose wrongly. So that's what I think they were trying to do, but in the midst of all the flash and the, you know, the attention grabbing headlines, that got lost in it. But if it was just as simple as men, be discerning, make her go through the same things that you go through. Like, this is not me winning her. This is us winning each other and forming a union that, you know, is going to be inseparable. It's going to make us both stronger. If we viewed it like that, then I would say, okay, hey, I get it. But like I said, the attention grabbing headlines and all the flash took over, and it just became sensationalized, and it turned into this men versus women, and that's where it lost me.
Exactly.
And that's where it's whack.
But once they monetized their show, it became a game show type of thing with me. Well, I was tuned in just to see what they call that shit, the Frank Castle. Everybody kick somebody off the show today.
Yeah, I could dig that, right? And the irony is the irony of it all is the type of woman that they say that you should avoid are the women that they're dating, right? And they flaunt these chicks in your face, and they while telling you, don't be a sucker, don't trick up any money, choose the right one, be discerning, and all this. Meanwhile, when the camera's off, they doing all of that behind the cameras. You know what I mean? Now, if someone comes along and they trying to give game to young men, and they happen to be married, in a successful marriage with children, being a father, a lot of times they're frown on this dude like he don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He don't know how to get women. He don't know how to navigate in his dating world. Well, newsflash, motherfucker, he had to get his wife, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And chances are, if she's a decent looking woman of decent a moral setting, moral background, you know, he probably ran through quite a few to get to her. You know what I mean? And he probably had some valuable gems to pass down, right? You know, the whole thing I don't like about the movement is that it's counterproductive and it's counterintuitive.
Yeah. And you know, but you just to touch on what you said, one of the things you said was key. That if she is, you know, decent looking or whatever, he had to get her, you know? Like they made it seem like marriage is a bad thing, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And I get why they say it. Like I said, I felt like they started with good intentions and they, you know, they just lost their way. Because it's one of those things, you know, it don't take too many horror stories to make a man go, nah, I'm good on that. I go back to this, as you're gonna learn, it's my favorite word. Discernment. You have to be careful who you choose. And a lot of these guys, the so-called quality traits of a woman, they're looking at the wrong things. You know?
Right.
Like a fat ass and a smile does not raise your kids.
And it's temporary.
Yeah. A fat ass and a smile is not faithful to you when you're going through hard times, when your company has laid you off and you're looking for a new job, you know?
Yeah, real good. And that's one thing I liked about Kevin Samuels, right? He got to the brass tacks of it. See, the whole purpose of this shit is marriage. You know, we want to build black families, right? But after he left, that message really got lost. Now it's just about fucking hoes. Yeah. Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
That's community booty. Everybody got
to do that.
You know what I mean? But, you know, being an actual man, taking care of your family, providing for your family, and treating your woman like a decent freaking human being, like somebody you love, right? That's all part of that, and none of that should be frowned upon. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should be a sucker, you know what I mean, and be taken advantage of, but you should take care of your woman. You should do nice things for her. And if you have the means, she shouldn't have to work, right? She should be comfortable taking care of the home and rearing the children, right? And feel safe with you, right? You know, I understand that you have to know how to initiate this relationship with that type of woman. Yeah. I mean, but outside of that, the goal should be family.
Which ties into our last video. You know, one of the things about a strong black family, and you know, families individual. I mean, in general, but the government has a harder time pimping a strong family unit than it does a broken family unit.
You gotta understand that's what funded the civil rights movement. The funding they got for the civil rights movement came from the black family, the united black family. That all the funding for the vehicles, the transportation to get back and forth to work because we ain't riding this bus no more. How we got to the March on Washington, to even the funding of Brown versus Brown. Brown versus the Board of Education. That all came funded and financed by the black family dollar because it was staying in house, and we got away from that because being in America, they realized that our money, like because of that, I believe that whole stuff was a case study. That's on another note, but you know, once they understood how they got the means to do what they did, and they didn't have to borrow from banks, they didn't have to this, that, and the other. It was just these prominent figures going into these communities where the stuff was happening at, but they were still living good lives. They just wanted to be safe in their areas. and they got the funding from them. They said, "Oh yeah, we got to stop this. This is too much. This is a wrap. Like whatever we got to do." So what's the biggest thing that the man provides in that household? Security. It was security. It was security to know that you're gonna have a roof over your head and food in your stomach, and not only that, but if somebody came up in here, I've got somebody that's gonna protect me in the family.
Which goes to the point. The red pill is fucking stupid. The message that needs to be going across is masculinity, being a man, being accountable, right, and taking care of your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the very key word you said early on, discernment. You know what I mean? Making good decisions that's going to impact your life, especially the partner that you choose.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean. But y'all got something else?
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to add on one thing, man. And this is a question to both of y'all. You're talking to your 20-year-old self. You know, with all the knowledge that we've gained over the last 20 so odd years, what do you tell your 20-year-old self to look for in a woman? Don't give me narrative, but give me like specific character traits, whether or physical traits. But just give me like 4 or 5 things.
Oh,
You want me to take
you go first.
That's too easy. I had this conversation with myself all the time. If I made better decisions, I wouldn't be in mama's basement. Shout out to mama. But first of all, I'm very visual, right? So I have a type visually, right? And I would want her to have at least 90% of those attributes. I won't list them all, but yeah, I'll just say I have a type. I want her to have that. I want her to appreciate herself and her own natural beauty, right? I would want her to come from a good family, right? Where her father was there.
Boom.
I want her father to be a part of her life. You know what I mean? I want her to understand what my responsibilities are as a man. And I want her to hold me to them. You know what I mean? What my responsibilities are to her. I would want a woman who respects herself and never degrades herself in public, nor or on any social forum. I would want a woman that can to understand that most things are reserved for me at home and not for the streets or for the internet. That being said, certain thoughts, certain pictures, right? I wouldn't want any of that stuff online. That should be between us. Another thing would be a woman that is willing to follow the program and trust me to guide the family in the right direction, right? That way we're always in sync. We're always on the same page, and we're not competing with each other about who has the better idea. You know what I mean? That trust is extremely important. And thirdly, a woman who communicates what her, lastly rather, what her differences are in opinion, right? So that we can talk about it and get on common ground and go right back to our regularly scheduled program. I'm sorry, that wasn't lastly. This is lastly. Undying loyalty, right? A woman that's loyal to the end, that will never allow any influence from an outside source. She won't allow herself to be entertained by men, right, from an outside source. And she won't allow her family or friends to entertain her decisions that she's making. And she's loyal to everything that we have. You know what I mean? Those are all the things I would want to encompass in our situation. But yeah, from that, bro, I'll let you take it. Somebody's at mama's door. Let me go answer mama's door before she yelling at me.
Yeah, I agree with 2 of the things. Most importantly, her where she came from, her background. You know, and not only that, but like having a father. That's the most important thing, because you don't know what you need if you ain't never had it.
Yeah.
In life, you know what I'm saying? So you can never respect something if it was never there and you only saw one side of the scope. You have to see both sides of it to understand the need of it. Men will always understand the need of a woman if they raised them in a single parent household because they had a woman there. You know, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, a female won't understand that because the father won't there. So that's very important. Two, I would tell 20-year-old Roy, stay out the projects. Don't be out there talking to those females out there in areas that you shouldn't be in, talking to females in.
Falling for the Venus flytrap. the pretty chick that'll bite you.
And two, I honestly would open myself up, pause, Diddy, no Diddy, to other demographics outside of just black women. Not because I don't have a dislike for them. It's just that I realized when I went to Japan, I ain't never really stepped out of messing with nobody outside of black women. And for my first couple of months there, I was trying to still find black service members to talk to. And I'm like, I'm in a whole place with a whole bunch of, and I'm still looking for a certain, step outside the box. You might find something. Like everybody can't have that. I found me a sister who do this, that, and the other. Some people find them in white, black, Asian, whatever the nationality is. But step outside your box, because when you step outside your box, you might actually realize you might have a more intense get a more intense liking or love for your counterpart who just like you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta see what that grass is like. That grass is not good. I need to go back over here where I'm appreciated at and I'm understood a little bit more. And another thing is communication. I won't be in. I would tell myself we don't argue. We can talk about anything, but if you get with a chick that you got to argue with and you got to constantly interject you with, that is the biggest red flag. And make sure that you leave without hesitation. You don't have to give them a reason. Just cut it off. And that's and those will be the biggest things I would tell myself as far as that.
Can I add one last thing? Thing. Yeah. I would ask myself, I would say, son, how much pussy do you need? Because I had some really good women that I fucked over for no other reason other than I wanted more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I had somebody to encourage me to build a relationship rather than trying to smash all that I can smash, I'm sure at least one of those may have turned out differently.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be faithful in relationships. I don't be stepping out of bounds.
I was a hoe.
When I'm single, I'm out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm a disgusting human being when I don't have no relationship ties to you.
What about you, cuz? Run it down real quick before we shut it off.
Hey, man, I was going to, man, but I'm gonna keep it short, man. I think about loyalty. I think about persistence. I think about honesty. I think about communication. And I think about having some kind of moral compass, man. I'm not necessarily saying what you got to believe in, but I feel like it's important to have some kind of belief system. Because I think when you find a woman who has some kind of belief system, it takes off a lot of it crosses out a lot of things on the list, and it eliminates a lot of the problems that people are going through now, man. You got these chicks out here, man, they don't believe in anything, they don't care about anything, their God is money, and that's a whole nother conversation, man. But just offhand, like I said, man, it's all about that discernment, man. Be shrewd in who you choose and understand why. And understand what characteristics are going to pay off and which ones are going to be a liability at the end of the day.
True.
100%. And with that,
unfortunately, but with 20, I was going to war and stuff, and I won't thinking about nothing but hey man, anybody gets slayed tonight. I'm out here on a mission. I didn't know if I was coming back, so I said, you know what? Every night got to be a good night. I wouldn't have done that now if I knew what the future would have been in going in, but I was living that last night like it was the last night. I told many females I'm about to get deployed tomorrow. I'm sorry for those females that I lied to like that.
and for those that's watching who will never see and will remain nameless to us, hey, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? And this isn't just a male question. Woman, you as well. What would you tell your 20-year-old self or your younger self if you can go back and have an honest conversation with you as far as what your significant other would look like? You know what I mean? Leave that down in the comments. Interact with us. We be in them comments. Don't get it twisted. We in there. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. But with that, yeah, we out. Peace.
Peace.